many of you have ever been told to use your words wisely or to think before you speak? I'm sure most of you have heard these phrases at least once in your life, but have you ever really taken the time to do so? Have you ever actually stopped to think about the way you approach a situation with your words? Many of us have been in a position where we've said something to another individual and it didn't come out the way we expected it to. That's not always a fun place to be, is it? Usually the other person gets angry or upset. We forget how powerful our words can be. Simply by changing a single word in a story makes the whole feel of it different. Consider this. You hear a story about a woman who has been sexually assaulted. Some news sources might call her a survivor. Some might call her a victim. Tell me, which would you feel sorrier for? A survivor or victim? A survivor is usually treated like a hero who's overcome a great obstacle. A victim, on the other hand, is often treated with pity or shame. Although by laws of reason, the two are practically the same thing. Labels create an even bigger problem than this. We've all heard labels applied to certain groups of people to separate them from the norms of society. Walking down the street, I can hear 4 different names for a group of African American individuals, 3 for the homosexual community, and 2 for single moms just trying to pay their rent. All of these names are designed to separate one person from the next, but not always in a positive way. These names often start off as derogatory slurs used to shame a minority, but over time, they've become the driving force behind some of the biggest movements in the world. When you think about some of the words that make up this urban dictionary of classifications, what or who do you picture? Does it align with the definition, or does it mean something else entirely? What I'm getting at here is that simple words taken from the dictionary are being used to tear down communities of people. If I walked up to a person on the street today and asked, "What is a faggot?" we all know what they would say. But did you know that next to the word faggot in the dictionary, it does not say a homosexual? No, it says that a faggot is a bundle of sticks or iron. It's so easy to turn an innocent word or group of words into an act of manipulation. In the mid-70s, Elizabeth Loftus performed a series of experiments showcasing how eyewitness testimonies can often be misled. In one of the case studies, it says subjects were shown a slide of a car at an intersection with either a yield sign or a stop sign. Experimenters then asked participants questions, falsely introducing the term stop sign into the question instead of referring to the yield sign participants had actually seen. Similarly, experimenters falsely substituted the term yield sign in questions directed to participants who had actually seen the stop sign slide. In the end, the subjects claimed to have remembered seeing the false image because of a simple word change. Believe it or not, this is the same thing that happened in Germany during the World War II. Many people ask, how could the whole German populace claim ignorance of the slaughter of the Jewish people? This happens the same way the investigators can make you think you saw a stop sign instead of a yield sign. When Hitler first came to power, Germany was down on their luck. All it took was a charismatic speaker telling people what they wanted to hear to feel good about themselves. This started a series of events that ended with World War II and the Holocaust. Words truly have an incredible power over the human mind. Have you ever noticed that when you wake up in the bad mood, the rest of your day kind of turns out pretty crappy too? Well, there's actually a little bit of science behind that. When you hear or think a negative word, such as the word no, your amygdala, or The fear center of your brain releases dozens of stress-producing hormones and neurotransmitters, which interrupts the brain's ability to think with logic and reasoning. On the flip side of this, when you hear words of encouragement, there are obvious chemical changes in the pleasure centers of the brain. So really, all it takes is a single word in the right or wrong spot to really make or ruin your entire day. How incredible is that? This process can be seen in the recent increases in suicide due to bullying. Verbal abuse can lead to depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. By the same token, however, words can heal the mind as much as they can harm it. Isn't that what therapists do, after all? They use the right words to convince people that their lives are worth living. So, what would the world be like if we all chose our words wisely? Or if we made an effort to think before we speak? Words have an amazing power to rebuild a culture, but they also have the power to tear it down. Using our words alone, we can inspire and drive the up-and-coming generations. People have enormous potential to influence the world, the future, and every person around them. Parents, make better choices when talking to and teaching your children. Teachers, make sure you set a good example with your words for your students. Even those of you who aren't directly responsible for others, realize that you have the potential to radically affect other human beings anyway, simply in the things that you say to or around them. Everyone has this amazing power of words, but very few people think about their consequences before speaking. Proverbs 12:18 says, "Thoughtless words can wound as deeply as any sword, but wisely spoken words can heal." Thank you for your time.